if you're always looking for what's different, the energy underneath different could be, I'm always looking for what's wrong. I'm always looking for what's missing. And that breaks a relationship apart. But if you're looking for what can I add to the relationship to support who a person is or how a person understands me so we can be together in a more profound and powerful and impactful way, that feels really loving. That feels really generous.
How do you differentiate? I differentiate, and I don't say that we must differentiate, but the curiosity is because you, of course, are partners, life partners. You have kids together. You have work together now. And I've been to your office last week, your house last weekend, which also have your office within the setting of your house.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a lot of time together.
It's a lot of time together.
How do you differentiate? Now we are working, now we are playing, now we are, doing something else.
So good. Such a good question. I love that question. So for Jan, he is in the world that he's in, and then he exits the world that he's in. So sometimes I have to pull him out of the world he goes into to bring him back into the world we're in. And I would say that my role as well as my personality is more I'm in it all the time. So I have to leave the house or leave the environment, go on a trip, go on a girls' trip, go on a weekend, go visit my family in order to have Monika time. We were at yesterday, the interview, and we were coming home, and I said to him, I'm so grateful how much fun we have together. So I think the key to us being able to be together as much as we possibly can be is because we look for places where we're playing. Mm. And I think we also elicit our little ones. I think my little girl and his little boy love each other and play together and have so much fun co-creating. Now, the one thing that I will say that I think is interesting is that Jan and I, when he works with me, when we're actually creating something, he has all the patience in the world. He can hear my dumb ideas. He can hear my great ideas. He will compliment my ideas. When I work with him, I get a lot more impatient. I feel sometimes like, why do you think about it that way? What are you thinking that's going to produce? And I'll get impatient when he's in exploration. And I have to go inside of myself, knowing the tools to use and being like almost like coaching myself. Monika, you're crushing his creativity. Shh, be quiet. So sometimes in the process of that togetherness, I'll literally have to say, let's take a break for a second. I'll distract myself. And I think part of it is I get impatient because it doesn't happen as fast as it would happen if I was doing it. Or it doesn't happen the way that it would be if I was doing it. So my brain goes to, I want to do it this way, and I want to do it the way that I know will produce this outcome. But that erases the magic. Mm-hmm. So I think we spend a lot of time together because we just enjoy these moments of play and we navigate around any kind of conflict or difference.
Absolutely. One thing that I've found, both of you, and at least that's my perception of it, and maybe that's why I can see that actually playing out exactly as you said it, is that I feel both of you have found a way to accept each other, if that is the right way to say it. How do you find a way to accept someone when they're so different to you?
Gosh, that's so good. That's such a straight question with such a complex experience of it.
Yes, I hear you. I want to know this.
Yeah. So I think that part of how I find my way to really accept who Jan is that I've done so much work on accepting me and seeing how much conflict I have inside of myself when I'm critical of myself. Because if I can't let go of some of the judgments that I have, and by the way, right now, it's interesting that you're asking because I'm in a season of life where I have a lot of self-judgment, like waking up in the morning and feeling lots of self-judgment. So I recognize that when I'm there, my capacity to be open to everything around me is less. I feel a lot more sensitive. I feel a lot less open. I feel a lot more constricted and constrained. So the ability to have this sense of me, and I think that's what you're speaking to a little bit, is there's a deep sense of knowing and a deep sense of looking. I don't just think I've grown and I've reached the end of the growth. I'm looking for, and not distinction, not only growth and always processing, just noticing growth, just sitting inside of, look at this growth that's happening right now. Because I believe also sometimes in the world of coaching, we as coaches have so much resource that we overprocess. We think, oh, there's one more thing to do, and there's one more thing to do. And I don't always want to be the project that I'm working on. I want to just sit inside of the observation of myself. So because I've spent so much time honoring, nourishing, nurturing, connecting with that part of me, it allows me to have that patience, compassion, and awareness of him.
That's so powerful. And I want to explore that a little bit more because I almost feel like, or at least for what's coming up for me, is the more you get comfortable with yourself, the better your relationship gets.
Yeah.
The more you accept yourself, the better your relationship gets.
Well, here's what I have found. I have been friends with people that have very different life circumstances and journeys than me. I mean, you have a very different life history than I have, a very different cultural experience than I have. And so in order for me to be able to be inside of the world you're in, I need to get really curious. I need to get really quiet. I need to be great at asking open-ended questions. I need to be great at listening to what you share and remembering things that mean a lot to me. Because then I celebrate those parts of you, and it activates parts inside of me that I may not have had connection to yet or have explored yet. So by being in that inquiring space, I feel like we expand our ability to accept. And what people want, the basic human need, is to be seen, to be heard, and to be understood. And all of those three together equal to be loved. Mm-hmm. So if I see you and I judge you, I'm separating us. And I believe, I'm a spiritual being rather than a religious being. I believe that universe, God, spirit, whatever you call it, we're not separate. And I believe the big lesson coming into this planet, being a human experience, is acceptance. Seeing that we're not different and that we're not separate, but celebrating our uniqueness. Because some people think unique means we're different. But if you're so much different than me, then I'm not assimilating and connecting with you. I'm recognizing and looking for all the ways that we're different. And if you think about that in the world of relationships, if you're always looking for what's different, the energy underneath different could be, I'm always looking for what's wrong. I'm always looking for what's missing. And that breaks a relationship apart. But if you're looking for what can I add to the relationship to support who a person is, or how a person understands me so we can be together in a more profound and powerful and impactful way, that feels really loving. That feels really generous. In 2000, Jan and I got married. And when we got married, there was an experience of we love each other, but we don't know how this is going to work. And the first year of marriage was a disaster. And we did not know how to navigate. We did not know how to communicate. We did not have the tools. We did not. And at the end of the year, I said, I think I'm done. I don't think that I can do this anymore. I think I've tried everything I know how to try, and I don't think I can do this. And I was sharing with a friend my sadness about this, my hurt about this, my frustration about this. And he said, maybe if you'd want to consider it, there's this program that I took that really made a difference in my life. Maybe this would make a difference for you. Mm. And I said, look, nothing can hurt. I'm already not feeling like there's any possibility of it being going to work. So sure, I'll do that. So I do this program, and over one night, the very next day, there was an exercise about choice. And the example was that we spend so much time deciphering all the reasons why we can't choose the person that we're with, that we never choose them. We always choose the reason. So in this conversation, we were given the instruction, just choose. And so I tried that on, like, okay, if I just chose Jan, what would change about my marriage? What would that be? How would that be different? And what I realized was everything would be different because I was never choosing him. I was only choosing my perception and my perspective of him. And my perspective was, you aren't doing the things I need you to do, so you need to change or I can't be with you. And I'd never
When you
seen
say
it.
you're choosing Jan for who he is. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
And the experience
I'm
that he's having at that
accepting
time. Yeah.
that anything about him that I judged, didn't like, didn't think was the kind of man that was providing for me, the kind of man that was doing what I think a man should do, that all my rules,
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to accept him for exactly how he was, how he showed up, what he said, how he said it, how he dressed, how he looked. I was going to just choose him.
How do you stop judging somebody else? Especially somebody that is with you like all the time.
Well, healing is the application of loving to the parts inside that hurt. And the parts inside that hurt are a result of all the judgments. So how do you do that?
Say that again. Say that again. That was great. Okay. I wanted to say it slowly so everybody can hear it.
Okay. So healing is the application of loving the parts inside that hurt. Love the parts inside that hurt and you'll heal.
Mm-hmm.
And judgment is the hurt parts. So when you love you and others, you remove. Love and judgment cannot exist in the same vacuum, in the same room, same energy. So when you love, you release the judgment. And when you judge, you activate the wall that separates your heart from the world, and that's where the breakdown in communication and in separation starts to happen. It's like this weird invisible wall. The love doesn't go away. People often say, I fell out of love. No, you just forgot that you had the love there and you weren't fostering the love. You built the wall around your heart, and now the love isn't shining through anymore. Mm-hmm. So what we need to do is learn how to put the wall back down over and over. The wall will come up. We can't stop it from doing that permanently, but we can see, oh, the wall's up. Apply love, apply forgiveness, apply compassion, wall comes down, love is available again. Now we can have choice. So I woke up, I chose that day to wake up every morning choosing this man. And there was a 1.5 years of work that we did on our relationship to allow that choice to be permanent.